Welcome to True Tomorrows, the show where we explore those thrilling and sometimes terrifying possibilities of the future. I'm Adrian Smith, your host.
And I'm Julia Jones, ready to break down the latest in science AI, all those mysteries that really make you think about what tomorrow could hold.
If you love tech and the strange and just the plain surprising, then this is the place for you.
hmm
It's like we're your compass for navigating the exciting world between tomorrow's reality and science fiction.
And if you're enjoying the show, don't forget to rate and follow True Tomorrows. We've got new captivating stories coming at you every day.
Today, we're diving into a story called The Infinity Echo. It features this group of rebels. They're called the Shift Walkers, and they have this amazing ability to manipulate reality using fractals.
Yeah, so before we go too far, let's talk about what a fractal is.
Yeah,
For anyone who might not know, they're these repeating patterns that you can find everywhere in nature, like snowflakes, coastlines, even the branching of trees. It's the same shape, but repeating over and over again at different scales.
okay, so imagine if you could reshape the world around you by tapping into these hidden patterns. That's basically the power that the Shift Walkers have. They can bend the rules of physics almost like it's a superpower.
It's a pretty wild concept, and the story really explores how this power could be used. The shiftwalkers, they start small, small acts of rebellion, like distorting those surveillance cameras or corrupting data. Imagine being able to just scramble security footage just by concentrating on the fractal patterns in the lens.
Yeah, that's just the start.
Yeah.
As they get bolder, they use their abilities in even more powerful ways. There's this one rebel, Maya. She can actually shape shadows into weapons using these fractal principles.
Like she's weaponizing geometry itself. And then there's Omar. He can make his hands move so fast they become a blur, and he can slip through restraints, almost like he's defying the laws of physics.
And what I find really interesting is how the story links these abilities back to technology. The narrator talks about tasting code and feeling the city's pulse like it's something they can rewrite. It makes you wonder if in the future the line between the physical and digital worlds will just disappear completely.
Right, and this power doesn't go unnoticed. There's this force in the story called the Corpsys, and they see the shiftwalkers as a threat. They try to fight back using their own technology.
They're like this super advanced government or corporation that wants to control everything. They're not going to let some rebels with reality-bending powers mess up their system.
And the story doesn't shy away from how dangerous this conflict could be. The Corpsys create these monstrous creatures made of what the story calls geometry-made cruel. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, like weaponizing math. The whole thing culminates in this epic final battle that takes place in a mirror hall. And because of all the fractal manipulation going on, reality starts to fracture and become unstable.
Imagine looking into a shattered mirror and your reflection is broken into 1,000 pieces. That's kind of what happens to reality in this story.
The Shiftwalkers, they win in the end, but it comes at a cost. They defeated the Corpsys, but now they're trapped in a reality that's constantly shifting and unpredictable. They broke the world they were trying to save.
Which raises some pretty big questions about unintended consequences, especially when it comes to powerful technologies. Like, are we really in control of the things we create, or will they eventually take on a life of their own? Welcome back to True Tomorrows.
I'm Adrian Smith, and we're continuing our exploration of the Infinity Echo, where reality is definitely not what we're used to.
And I'm Julia Jones here to help make sense of it all.
Last time we saw the Shiftwalkers win over the Corpsys, but they kind of broke reality in the process.
It really makes you think about all the anxieties we have in the real world right now, like all the surveillance and data collection stuff.
Exactly. In the story, the Corpsys are like an extreme version of a society where everything is monitored and controlled. They're using technology to make everyone conform. It's a pretty dark vision of the future.
Yeah, especially when you consider how much information our devices are already gathering about us. Like, think about all the data from your phone, your smart speaker, your browsing history. It's a bit creepy when you stop and think about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what I think this story really highlights, the possibility that technology could be used to control us. It's like a warning to be careful about the data we share and how much power we give these tech companies.
Definitely. And speaking of warnings, the whole idea of unintended consequences really stood out to me.
Right. The Shiftwalkers, they wanted to get rid of the Corpsys' control and create a better world. But their actions had all these side effects that they couldn't have predicted.
And that's such an important lesson for us as technology keeps changing. We might think we're in control, but the things we create can have consequences that we never intended.
Like opening Pandora's box. You can't always put everything back in.
Exactly. It makes you realize that we need to be careful with powerful technologies and think about what could happen, not just what we want to happen.
Okay, let's talk about something else from the story that I found really cool Augmented reality.
AR. It's already a part of our lives, but the Infinity Echo takes it to another level. The shift walkers aren't just adding digital stuff onto the real world, they're actually changing reality itself.
It's like blurring the lines between what's real and what's not. It's mind-blowing.
Imagine walking down the street and being able to completely change everything around you, or stepping into a virtual world that feels just as real as the physical one. It's both exciting and a bit scary.
Definitely. And it brings up ethical questions. Like, if we could create any reality we wanted, what's stopping us from using it to do bad things?
That's something to think about. And the story makes you wonder about the problems that could come up in a future where we can't really tell the difference between what's real and what's virtual.
So let's go back to one of the main ideas that makes this story so different: fractals.
Right, those amazing patterns that repeat themselves over and over. In nature, we see them in snowflakes, trees, coastlines. But in this story, they represent something much bigger.
Exactly. It's like fractals aren't just patterns, they're what reality is made of. And by changing those patterns, the shift walkers can change the world.
Which might sound crazy, but it actually connects to some real scientific ideas, particularly in quantum mechanics.
You mean the idea that reality isn't fixed, but it's always changing, with lots of possibilities existing at the same time?
Exactly. And some physicists believe that our consciousness might play a role in deciding which of those possibilities becomes our reality.
So maybe the shift walkers aren't so far-fetched after all. Maybe they've figured out something deeper about the universe and how consciousness works.
It's an interesting idea. And it makes you wonder what else is out there in the universe just waiting for us to discover it.
Now, besides all the mind-bending ideas and the action, the Infinity Echo is also really emotional.
The characters feel so real. You connect with them as they deal with the consequences of their choices. You feel their fear, their hope, their sadness. It's a story that stays with you.
Absolutely. And one of the strongest feelings it gives you is a sense of wonder.
Like, the universe is so much more complex and mysterious than we can imagine, and there might be things happening that we're just starting to understand.
So as we finish up this part of our discussion, I think it's important to remember that this story isn't just about technology. It's about what it means to be human.
It's about the choices we make, our responsibilities, and our potential to create a world that can be both beautiful and terrifying.
And as we keep pushing the limits of what's possible, we need to remember the lessons from the Infinity Echo.
We need to remember that our actions have consequences, and even the best intentions can sometimes lead to really bad outcomes.
Welcome back to True Tomorrows for the last part of our look at the Infinity Echo.
I'm Julia Jones, ready to see how this mind-bending story ends.
And I'm Adrian Smith, still processing all the twists and turns.
Well, buckle up, because we're diving into what happens after the shiftwalkers beat the Corpsys.
A victory that came at a huge cost. I mean, they defeated this controlling force, but they shattered reality in the process.
Remember all that talk about unintended consequences? Well, this is it. They wanted to be free from control, and now they're in a world that's unpredictable and dangerous.
The story calls it a beautiful and terrible tapestry of possibilities, which is such a powerful image. Beauty and terror mixed together. All this potential, but also the threat of chaos.
The story doesn't really tell us what life is like for normal people in this new reality. But you get the feeling it's hard to survive when everything's constantly changing.
Makes you wonder, what would you do if the laws of physics just stopped working? Could you adapt to a world where anything's possible?
It really challenges how you think about reality. The story makes you question everything you thought you knew about how the world works.
And it shows how much responsibility comes with power. The shiftwalkers wanted to do good, but their actions had these terrible consequences.
It's like sometimes the cure is worse than the disease. We have to remember that we can't always predict what'll happen, even when we're trying to do the right thing.
But there's a little bit of hope in the ending. The narrator, who is now part of this broken reality, is still looking for meaning and connection, trying to make sense of it all.
They haven't given up on making a better future even though their world is gone. It shows how strong the human spirit can be.
Yeah, and it makes you think that even when everything seems lost, there's still potential for growth and change.
The Infinity Echo doesn't give you easy answers, but it leaves you with this feeling of possibility, like the future isn't set. It's something we create through the choices we make.
That idea goes way beyond this story. It makes us think about the world we're making with technology and what could happen because of our choices.
Are we building a future where we're free and connected, or are we headed for a dystopia where everything is controlled? This story makes us think about that.
As we finish our deep dive into the Infinity Echo, I want to thank you for coming along with us on this journey into the possibilities of the future.
Remember, the future isn't set. It's always changing. And it's up to us to shape it.
So stay curious, stay informed, and stay involved. Keep exploring those true tomorrows. And that's a wrap on True Tomorrows.
Okay.
We'll be back soon with another captivating story from the world of tomorrow. Until then, keep questioning, keep imagining, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.